It was interesting. I had a woman on the podcast recently, and she's three-time B2B CMO, some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies around. And she said, Steve, all I want to do on your podcast is talk about one thing. Okay, well, what's that? She goes, well, this is the lack of execution. It's where all good strategy goes to die. So I would love to, learn from you from Accenture. You were at a company, talk to us a little bit. You were at a company that literally was a voice of the customer company, right? I mean, this is not something that you haven't thought through. And then now you're leading a company that's a CRM, sugar CRM, right? And taking the voice of the customer and activating it in the sales process is what a good CRM is all about. So I would love to hear your thoughts on how you activate the voice of the customer.
Well, I love your guest comments because execution is what matters. I often describe myself as a mechanical strategist, meaning I love strategy. I love getting up on whiteboards. I've got one right behind me that I'm using all the time. But unless you can figure out the mechanics of the execution that support that strategy, it becomes theoretical. And businesses do need to figure out how they execute on that. So the example, everybody's probably heard of Net Promoter Score, something invented by a partner at Bain many, many years ago. And it's super simple. It asks people how likely you are to recommend a company or a service. And it's on a scale of 1 to 10. Nines and tens are promoters, 1 through 6 detractors, and you got some passives in between. And I remember interviewing when I was running Alchemer. Alchemer is a voice of the customer company, a survey company. And I was interviewing CFOs years ago. And I used to ask every one of them, have you heard of NPS? Of course, I've heard of NPS. Great. How do you use it? We present our NPS score to the entire company at the all hands meeting once a quarter. I'm like, great. And then what? And they're like, we refresh it every quarter and we present it at the next meeting. Fundamentally, that doesn't do anything to move the needle. What we talked a lot about at Alchemer, and it's absolutely what we do at Sugar, is we take the top promoters, the nines and tens, and we engage them into marketing cadences. Those are the people who are fierce advocates. They want to go tell the world how much they love sugar. So we take those nines and tens and we ask them to go share their love for sugar with the world. We take the detractors, who are the 1 through 6s, and we say, usually in the verbatims, they'll tell you why they're unhappy. And you can turn that into a supportable event. We actually turn that into a support case, and we reach out to those customers and we try to engage them in whatever's got them concerned. And then the passives, and here's the funny thing about passives, promoters and detractors renew at a higher rate than passives. That's a little like counterintuitive. You'd think passives would be higher than detractors, but it's the old thing people have always said, love me or hate me, just don't ignore me. Those passives don't renew as well. So we take the passives and we send them off to our customer success team, and we ask them to go engage them proactively and try to turn them from passives into promoters, right? So each one of those in the simplest of frameworks, that simple NPS framework, can be used to drive marketing cadences, support cadences, customer success cadences to engage customers and make them feel like you've really heard them when you've asked them for their opinion.